Hi, I'm Hank Thiele, the Superintendent of Community High School District 99. Thanks for tuning into our series on the Master Facility Plan. This part of the series will focus on project financing and how we could fund these projects. In this part of the presentation, we're going to dig into the preliminary financing, how finances here work in the district, and then what the tax impact could be for this project in its entirety. One of the things that I definitely want to inform you of is that for the last many years, not only have we a history of improving our buildings, we have a history of improving our buildings without asking for additional funding, just through the great community support we receive through property taxes each year. We reinvest in our buildings every year. And what you see here is just since 2000, some of the major changes and costs associated with them that we've done to reinvest in our buildings with the regular operating funds provided by our taxpayers. So you'll see some big projects in here that we've taken on without going out and asking for additional funding. I believe that our team here does a great job of maintaining our facilities and improving them. But we're looking at some projects here that are outside of the scope of what we could do with our regular funding. These are giant projects. If you tune back in through the other video clips, you'll see these are very large in scope and scale, and they're also large in how they overlap and impact one another. So to fund these projects, we would need to bring in additional resources. Now, one of the good things is that our district has already the second lowest tax rate of all high school districts in DuPage County, and spoiler alert at the end of this, we'll still have the second lowest, regardless of what we do with the plans we're looking at here. As we've talked, we have an opportunity though now because of how we have structured bonds and borrowing over the years to reissue bonds that are expiring in 2019. If we reissue those, we could bring in additional funds to complete a lot of these projects. Right now, our borrowing is right in the middle of other schools in DuPage County. And although we have the capacity to borrow a lot more than what we're asking for here, we are in the middle and will remain in the middle. Another spoiler alert. So those bonds will be paid off in 2019. What that is for an average household in District 99, that's $132 a year that is going to finance those bonds. Those bonds will expire in 2019, and we're asking to reissue those bonds. So keep that amount at least flat and likely grow it a little bit to complete the full scope of the project. But this would be the time to take on a giant project, and it won't feel to the average household like it's as large of a project as it is, because you're filling in with the bonds that are expiring. Here's the impact of reissuing the bonds for the full amount of the project. And you'll see our bond and interest rates, as I told you before, we stay in the middle. We don't go outside of that. And reissuing that keeps our tax rate in that second position, second lowest in DuPage County. The entire scope of this project doesn't change that at all. So, but before we move forward, what this community engagement process is over the last year is the Board of Education seeking to determine what direction does the community want us to go in, both with the plan, the building plans, but with the funding. And those two are obviously tightly connected. So there's really three points in the funding here. It's the entire, one option is the entire plan. All the projects that were outlined in the earlier videos, complete that entire scope of the project, and that entire scope is $136.6 million to modernize our schools. Our schools are big places. Our schools make up over 1 million square feet of community property just for the inside, and this is a big project to modernize aspects that will touch nearly every spot throughout these buildings. that cost would be $65 a year for an average home in the District 99 area. So that's a house with a market value of $300,000. That increase would be $65 per year for the whole project. Another area kind of moving back would be to then just reissue the bonds. Taxes would remain flat. That would allow the community to infuse $81.6 million worth of building projects here at the district. However, the needs are at 136.6. So somehow we'd have to cut projects and needs out to scale it back to 81.6 million. There is nothing in this plan that any of our students or staff or even many community members that I've talked to see as options to scale back. But if the community says that that's what they're looking for, the board and the administration and the staff will have to look at what do we pull off the plan to move back to $81.6 million worth of projects. That's part of the reason why we're sending these surveys that'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks to the entire community. We want to know what you think about each of these aspects of the plan as well, so that if there is a reason to scale back, we know what the community thinks about each of the aspects contained within the entire plan. Of course, the option is out there not to reissue the bonds. If we don't reissue those bonds that were issued in 1997, the average, same $300,000 home, their taxes would decrease by $132 per year. However, we would not be able to do the building projects that you see outlined through the master facility plan. This is the one-time opportunity to reinvest in these giant projects that we're looking at doing. Because those bonds roll off in 2019, this is the opportunity to do a huge amount of building for not the same kind of increase that the tax bill would feel for the District 99 portion if this was any other time that we were approaching the community with this scale of a building plan. So this is the opportunity to really reinvest in our schools, modernize them, make the facilities equitable across both schools, and really prepare our facilities for the next generation of learners that come into our schools. But we want to know if this is really how the community feels around this project and what the community thinks we should do going forward. Please tune in to the rest of the video series that talks about the projects separate from the funding. Those are available at this website, csd99.org/MFP, as well as all of the information around the project. And please respond to the survey that comes home around this project in the next few weeks. Thank you.